guys, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be profiling one of my favorite decks. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We're going to be talking about Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons today. So for starters, we're playing 3 copies of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Arc Pendulum Dragon is actually the most important card in the deck. What it says is it's actually a normal pendulum monster, so it doesn't have a monster effect. But it says, if an Odd Eyes card you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon one Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon once per turn. So the whole primary focus of the deck is we use the field spell to destroy some of your pendulum scales. So you get to add one pendulum monster or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand with the effect of the field spell, and then because you destroyed Odd Eyes Arc, you can, if you destroy a card while Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon is on the field, you can actually special summon an Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is amazing because basically you destroy one to get an add, and you also get a search, which is amazing. And then obviously the destroyed monster goes to the extra deck because we're playing pendulums, and because of that we just can do a whole bunch of really cool shenanigans, and we can go into really cool link monsters, we can go into really cool synchro monsters, we can go into cool fusions, and overall it's just a really fun deck. And so Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon is the key card of the deck, and because of that we're playing 3 copies. The next card we're playing, and a card that just recently came out, is 3 copies of Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon just came out in it was what was the set? It was the set that had the Dogmatica stuff in it, and this was one of the cheaper secrets, and you don't have to pay attention to most of the effect of this card. The key effect here is that you can actually discard this card and pay 500 life points to add 1 level 8 or lower Dragon Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. So that's really good because it basically acts as a searcher for your whole Odd Eyes, or most of the Odd Eyes archetype, because most of the archetype is Dragon and a level 8 or lower, so that's really good. And because of that, you play 3 copies of this card, and it's not negotiable because it's the searcher. Something to note, if you do actually set this in the pendulum scale, you will be locked into pendulum summoning Dragon monsters, so we try to not put it in the pendulum scale. We try to just use it to get the search. So 3 copies of Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. Next for my deck profile, I'm playing 2 copies of the OG Odd Eyes. This doesn't really have a purpose in the deck. This is more just for nostalgia pander. Plus I had secret rare copies, so I decided to play them because they match the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. But if you a cool interaction this card does have is at the end of the phase, you can actually destroy. Let me zoom in. There it is. So at the end of the turn, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add 1 pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, and then you can only use each effect of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon once per turn. But basically what you can do is you can set this in the pendulum scale, and if you set your Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon, if you destroy this during the end phase, Arc Pendulum Dragon triggers as well, so you get a search and you get a special summon, which is really cool. So we're playing 2 copies of this. You can cut this to 1 if you want. You can cut this out of the deck if you want. I just play it for the nostalgia factor. A really good card in the deck is 2 copies of Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. Typically, I find myself special summoning this with the effect of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Why do I special summon this? Because it has a really neat effect that says, once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field that was special from the extra deck. It has its effects negated until the end of the turn. So this, in certain cases, acts as another form of disruption during your opponent's turn, and it's really easily searched in the deck, and it's also really easy to special summon in the deck with the effect of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Something else to note, this is one of your low scale pendulum monsters. This is actually scale 1, whereas a lot of the other Odd Eyes monsters are scale 8s or scale 4s. Revolution Dragon is scale 12, but it locks you into dragons. So because of that, we're playing 2 copies of this to act as a form of disruption during your opponent's turn. So 2 copies of Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. We're also playing 1 copy of Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon. This is just in here because I needed a space. I needed another Odd Eyes monster just so I could add to my hand or special summon with the effect of Arc Pendulum Dragon. This card does have a really cool effect that once per turn, Once per turn. When this card is Pendulum Summon, if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of odd-eyes cards in your Pendulum Zone times 1,200. So basically, if this inflicts battle damage, if you have one odd-eyes card in your Pendulum Zone, it does 1,200. If you have two, it does 24. Sometimes this comes up because you can burn your opponent for 24, and that could lead to game sometimes. So we play one of this just because this is an odd-eyes card that's searchable, and you can special summon it from the deck. So, good card to play. For some of the other Odd Eyes monsters, we're playing one copy of two copies actually of Perform Pal Odd Eyes Synchron. This card's really, really good because it helps you go into your synchro summons because it's a level 2 tuner. Also, it has a really, really cool effect that says once per turn, you can target one Perform Pal or Odd Eyes monster you control. This turn, that monster is treated as a tuner. Also, its level becomes 1. This is really cool because you can actually synchro summon a level 7 monster in this deck with your copy of Persona Dragon and your copy of Perform Pal Odd Eye Synchron. And then if you have another Odd Eye Synchron and you have it in the Pendulum Zone, you can activate this Pendulum effect to make one of your Odd Eyes cards become level 1 and become a tuner. So you could actually synchro summon into level 8 monsters as well. And a really good example is you make a level 7 synchro, and then you can go into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which we're actually playing that in the deck. And so that's a really, really cool niche interaction that this card has. For the rest of the Odd Eyes cards, this is it. We're playing two copies of Odd Eyes, this Odd Eyes Dissolver. Odd Eyes Dissolver is a really, really good card. Much like Perform Pal Odd Eyes Synchron, this card has a very special place in the deck because this is actually the card you use to go into your fusion summons most of the time. This card says that once per turn, you can fusion summon one dragon monster from your fusion, or you can special summon one dragon fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. So this is really, really good because a lot of the time we want to go into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon because it provides us really, really good negation and disruption during our opponent's turn. So this is actually the card that can help us go into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. We also are playing some other fusion cards in the deck, but this is a card that you can actually search in the deck, and it helps you go facilitate your fusion plays. So because of that, we're playing two copies of it. It's also an Odd Eyes, like I said, so it's searchable. So that's actually it for the Odd Eyes monsters. Next, we're playing for just a little bit of a Pendulum package. We're playing 3 copies of Chronograph Sorcerer and 1 copy of Time Gazer Magician. If you don't know what Chronograph Sorcerer does, you can set it in your Pendulum Zone, and then you can actually destroy it to special summon a Time Gazer Magician from your deck or hand. I believe it's deck or hand. Yes, and then you can either special summon it or place it in your Pendulum Scales. A lot of the time, we're just special summoning it so we can get a body on the field because Pendulums are still hampered by the old Master Rule in that they need the if you're going to special summon them from the extra deck, they need link arrows that you can point to. So we need to kind of swarm the field and be able to set up our link arrows before we Pendulum summon so we can get the most advantage out of our Pendulum summon. So because of that, we're playing 3 Chronograph Sorcerers and 1 Time Gazer Magician. For another package we're playing in the deck, we're playing 3 copies of Supreme King Dragon Darkworm and 1 copy of Supreme King Gate Zero. So Dragon Darkworm says that if it's in your graveyard and you control no face-up monsters, you can special summon it from the graveyard, and then it has an effect that if it's normal or special summoned, you can actually add a Supreme King Gate card from your deck to your hand. So so this deck actually really, really is really, really good at sending cards to the graveyard with cards like Foolish Burial or Dragon Shrine. So a lot of the times we want to send this, and then we want to special summon this, and then we want to go ahead and get our search for our Supreme King Gate Zero, which is a really, really good card because it's a scale 0, so it gives us a low scale so we can Pendulum summon. And then if we have a follow-up play, like if we have a Chronograph Sorcerer, we can go Chronograph Sorcerer into a Time Gazer Magician, and then we can set up a Link 2, and then we can Pendulum summon with all the cards that are in our extra deck and just gain a massive amounts of advantage. So because of that, we're playing the Supreme King Dragon Darkworm package. So that's actually it for the monsters we're playing in the deck. Pretty beefy monster lineup in my opinion, but I think all of them are really needed. Now for the field spell, which is another card that really gets the deck going. 3 copies of Sky Iris. This was the card I was actually talking to you guys about earlier with the Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. So Sky Iris has a really, really cool effect that says, let me kind of focus. I don't know why my camera isn't focusing. Okay, here. Your opponent cannot target Magician, Pendulum, or Odd Eyes cards in your Pendulum Zone with card effects. So your Pendulum scales are pretty... or have some protection, which is really, really cool. Also, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do add one Odd Eyes card from your deck to your hand, you can only use this effect of Sky Iris once per turn. So this is really, really good because it allows us to destroy one of our Pendulum Scales to add any Odd Eyes monster from our deck to our hand, even the Performing Power Odd Eyes Synchron or Odd Eyes Dissolver. So we can Synchro Summon if we need it, we can Fusion Summon if we need it, and then this actually triggers Arc Pendulum Dragon if you happen to have it in your Pendulum Scale. So let's say we have an Arc Pendulum Dragon in our Pendulum Scale, we have this in the Field Zone, and then we have just a random, it has to be an Odd Eyes card. Let's just say we have a random Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon. We can actually pop the Phantom Dragon to get a search of any Odd Eyes card, and then on top of that search, we get a special summon with Arc Pendulum Dragon, which is just amazing. So we essentially get a search and a special summon off of one pop, which is really, really good. And most of the time, the pop doesn't even matter because it goes to the extra deck, and we can actually Pendulum Summon whatever card we popped right back out. So you're really not losing resources in that trade, and it's just a really, really good card. And so because of that, you have to run this at 3 of. Another card you absolutely have to run at 3 of is Spiral Flame Strike. 3 copies of that. This card's really, really good because it's actually a searcher for Odd Eyes, and it's also a utility pop card. So it says you can activate one of these effects. If you control Odd Eyes card, target one card on the field, destroy it. Also, you can add one level 7 Odd Eyes monster from your deck, or one level 7 Odd Eyes Pendulum monster from your extra deck. So this is really, really good because this gets you into your Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. It also gives you into your, more importantly, your Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon, which you can start to pop off with once you have that and your field spell and another Odd Eyes card. So this card, we have to play it as 3 of because it's our searcher. And it acts as a utility to pop our opponent's card if we need to pop, basically. This deck's actually really, really fun and really, really consistent now because we have 2 searchers, one in Spiral Flame Strike and then one in the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, which is the new Pendulum monster. For field spells, we're also playing another a copy of Dragon's Ravine. This is to dump the Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, because we want the Dragon Darkworm in the graveyard so we can special summon it for free, and then we can get the search of the Supreme King Gate 0. So essentially you get a body, if you activate this and you discard a card to dump a dragon to the field, you can actually basically go +1 because the Dragon Darkworm that you dump special summons itself, and then you get a search. So the card you discarded gets added back to your hand in the form of the Supreme King Gate 0, and you get a body on the field. So really, really good in this deck, and because of that, we're playing it as a 1 of. Also, playing 2 field spells gives us access to cards like Set Rotation, and that's a really powerful card. So that's why I play 2 field spells. Speaking of 2, we're also playing 2 copies of Duelist Alliance. Duelist Alliance is a neat card that says, if there's a card in the Pendulum Zone, you can add one Pendulum monster or one Pendulum spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Duelist Alliance per turn. So this is another way to search your Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon if you have a card in your Pendulum Zone. So it gets a little bit cloggy at 3 because you can only activate one per turn, but at 2 I find it's a really, really good utility card to search your Arc Pendulum Dragon. If you haven't noticed, a lot of the time we're absolutely searching the Arc Pendulum Dragon because that is the key card of the deck. 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. We're playing Allure of Darkness just because it's draw power. You can bump this up to 3 if you want, but you'd have to find room to cut something else. I just like it as a 2 of, just so we can have some draw power in the deck. I'm also playing 2 copies of Super Poly. Super Poly is really, really cool in this deck because we can use it to fusion summon our, cards like Starving Venom Fusion Dragon if our opponent controls a dark monster. Another interaction that this card has that's really cool is we can actually special summon Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon during our opponent's turn, because that takes one Odd Eyes monster plus one Pendulum monster. And then the Vortex Dragon says when it's special summoned, you can target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. So this card basically acts as a form of disruption during your opponent's turn, because if you go into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Vortex gets a bounce of one of your opponent's face-up monsters, and then Vortex itself is a negation, so this card can, on your opponent's turn, act as a disruption and can provide you negation. So because of that, we're playing 2 copies of Super Poly. Plus, it's just really good to Super Poly your opponent's monsters away into cards like Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, also Mud Dragon of the Swamp. So, because of that, we're playing 2 of these. For the 1-0s in the deck, we're playing 1 copy of Foolish Burial. This is to send your Supreme King Dragon Darkworm to the graveyard, so you can special summon it, and then you can get a search of the Gate 0. 1 copy of Dragon Shrine. It literally does the same thing as Foolish Burial, except it's locked into dragons, but that's fine because Dragon Darkworm is a dragon. 1 copy of Terraforming, so you can search your field spell, because that's another key combo piece that you really need to see as fast as possible. Also, we're playing 1 copy of Set Rotation, because we're playing 2 field spells in the deck, and this gives us access to any one of them depending on the situation. Most of the time you're going into the Odd Eyes field spell, which is the Sky Iris, but sometimes you might need the Dragon's Ravine, but this is a really, really good card. So that's actually it for the main deck. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the extra deck. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. This is primarily, I don't want to say it's an Odd Eyes Vortex Turbo deck, but this is one of the cards we're really looking to go into in the deck. So this card has a really, really neat effect. It says, let me focus. When this card is special summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster, attack position monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. So this is why Super Poly becomes a form of disruption during your opponent's turn, because you can return 1 card they control to the hand. Also, during either player's turn, when a spell or trap or another monster effect is activated, you can shuffle 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck to negate the activation, if you do destroy it. So that's really, really good. For the rest of the fusions, we're playing 1 copy of Starving Venom as a Super Poly target and 1 copy of Mud Dragon as a Super Poly target. We're playing 1 copy of Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. Just because if this is XC summoned and then it's sent to the graveyard, i.e. we link it away, you can special summon a Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon from your extra deck, which is really, really cool. So this is a way to spam out Vortex Dragon. 1 Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. We had a spot for a rank 4. This was the rank 4 that I chose. For the links, we're playing 1 copy of IP Masquerade because it takes 2 non-link monsters, and a lot of the times, if we can find a way to activate Chronograph Sorcerer and then special summon the Time Gazer Magician, and then we can normal summon the any card, we can go into an IP, and then we can link, we can pendulum summon to the arrows that IP points to, and then we can actually link during our opponent's turn. Hieratic Seal, because the links, the arrows are important, and it just takes 2 dragon monsters. Most of the deck is dragon monsters. Also, it acts as a form of disruption during our opponent's turn, which is really good. 1 copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is amazing. Most of the Odd Eyes are over level 7, so you get the ridiculous effect on this card that if it destroys a monster by battle, it can gain 1500, it can make a second attack, or it can banish a card in the field. Also, your opponent can't target it with card effects, or it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is nuts. 1 Boral Sword to end games. 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. The cool thing about the deck is if you pendulum summon cards, they're special summon from the extra deck, so you can actually use pendulum monsters to make Avramax. 1 copy of Appaloosa, because you can actually make this deck spams out monsters, and you can go into Appaloosa on your opponent's turn with IP Masquerade, or during your turn you can go into Appaloosa. 1 copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster for a level 7 negation, 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon for a level 8 negation, and then 1 copy of Borreload Savage Dragon to round off the level 8 negations. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any comments, please comment down below. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve the deck, comment down below. And thank you so much for watching the video. Peace out.